OSIM. Warga plus 62 emang banyak maunya. Dari drakoran sampai banjir air mata. Nonton action yang mantul. Sampai nonton tendangan cantik. Maksudnya ini. Mau nonton apapun, semua ada di video. Mulai dari yang bikin berbunga-bunga, keringet dingin, ketawa, sampai bikin gak ngedip. Jadi, nonton apa sekarang?
Tak pernah ku berhenti, tak pernah ku menyerah
untuk raih peluang, untuk ambil keputusan.
Bisnis Indonesia, navigasi bisnisku. Bisnis Indonesia.
Bisnis Indonesia, navigasi bisnis terpercaya.
Perkenalkan, ini aplikasi terbaru kompas.com. Kamu bisa baca berita lebih nyaman. Buka aplikasinya, scroll, swipe, klik, dan baca berita yang kamu mau. Yang paling penting, iklannya lebih tertata dan tidak mengganggu. Semua topik favorit kamu ada di sini. Berita hari ini semua ada di ujung jari. Download sekarang, baca berita lebih nyaman.
Hello everyone! So welcome back to UniPin Southeast Asia Cyber Arena 2022, also known as SEACA, and it is also the largest esports tournament in Southeast Asia. And inaugurated in 2018 by UniPin, this year's SEACA Major 2022 will bring an exciting series of events starting from 15 till 29, of course, November 2022. And right now we are going to have the 8th series of C Talks. So C Talks is a major series of webinars where we invited different speakers from all over Southeast Asia to talk and discuss about what's up in the esports industry. So yeah, the UniPin SEACA Major is brought to you, and of course thanks to the sponsors. Yeah, the first one is Awesome, Inspiring Wellbeing, Monitor Gaming, Samsung Odyssey, and then we also have an official streaming partner, Video, and also the assistant from the Artist Alley, and also the media partners. Moreover, for you guys who's watching C Talks, please stay here because we have a very, very interesting offers from Axis. So by purchasing UniPin voucher using Axis, so you just click the link on the pinned comment on the description box to purchase, and you can get 17 gigabytes of internet quota bonus. Isn't it amazing? Okay, so I don't want to keep you guys in waiting. So I'm going to do some short introduction to both of our speakers tonight. The first one, I think you guys already know this esports team because it's very famous. The first one is the COO of Bren Esports, and also Sibol PH National Team General Manager, Mr. Jap Escutin. Hi, Jap. Okay, that's Jap here. Hi. Finally we see each other again in a different dimension.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's great. Yeah, of course. It is actually our pleasure because I remember that we both were talking about the lady scene and also how concerned you are with the lady scene, right? So it is very important for a guy to have that kind of angle because, I mean, like, if we are women talking about ourselves, like, it's not valid, right? But if there is another, angle from a guy talking about ourselves, then it's gonna be more legit, right? But of course you're not.
I'm here to help.
Yeah, so you're not alone because I am going to invite another speaker here. So everyone, let's welcome Jang Bien. She's an esports marketing executive at ECPC and also Kovenry, and also the owner of Fuma Esports. It is like the longest esports team, like female esports team in the Philippines. So let's see the introduction. Okay, hi Jang, how are you? Hi, I cannot really hear you. I think there's connection problem. No?
Yeah,
can't hear
there.
Okay, I can
There.
hear you
Hi,
now.
good evening. It's
Hi.
so nice to have you here.
Yeah. So nice to have you both here. So it's also a surprise that you guys actually has a mutual friends, which is
Yeah.
Jab's sisters. Okay. So I got two speakers here, one female and one is male, obviously, because we want to hear different angles about women empowerment in esports, because actually this is the topic that I hold very close and very dear to my heart, because I am also a female and also do lots of campaign, do lots of things for the female scene in Indonesia and also in Southeast Asia. But I would love to hear different angles from you guys to to explain and share your experience about the lady scene itself. And I think rather than I'm saying equality, I think equity is more proper, right? Because when we're talking about equality, it means that we want to be equal, like we give we get the equal treatment. But when we are saying equity, it means that we got the support that we need. That's why lady scene is available right now, because it's the impact of the equity, I believe, because the guys probably will be say why there is a lady scene and why there is no guy scene because to be honest, like as you guys know, like game publisher, they never say that the tournament is only for boys, right? There's no rules, there's no such rules like that, right? So okay, from your perspective, Jab, like what do you think about gender equity in esports industry, and how is it important?
I think it's very important because, for me, equity is, the value that certain persons bring into, let's say, the industry or the sport, right? So when it comes to esports, the really good thing about esports is that there's no physical attributes, basically, that's actually, or limitations that we actually face, right? Let's say for basketball, you have to be really tall to participate or to be really good at it. But in esports, or at least in video games, there's no such thing as that. These are people that actually press buttons. So it doesn't matter if you're a female or a male. Everybody has equal opportunity to play the games, right? So I think it's very valuable that we have a lot of that, especially if you want to grow the industry itself. So in terms of, let's say, managing a team or making sure that the industry is successful, opportunities for everybody should be available, and that gender doesn't really have to matter there. But it matters because it's also value. It adds value to the industry itself. So that's what I think. Yeah, Deb, you're on mute.
Okay,
All right.
okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, so I honestly totally agree with Jab, because I think in esports, I think esports is, can I say, like the only, like not the only, actually, like the sports that very inclusive, right? So everyone can actually get the same opportunity, because there's no scientific study that actually say that men are better than women when it comes to playing games. So let me hear from your side, from your perspective, Jang, because you are the one who developed the first, I can say the first, right? Female esports team in the Philippines, right?
Yes. Well,
So
actually, oh yeah, go on. So
No, you can continue.
okay, okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So I really love that you quoted the term equity, because here in esports, I really don't believe in equality. Why? Because as I've said before, men and women are equal, yes, but there's a big but there, because men and women in esports have the same opportunities, but they do not have the same privileges. Like, for example, if you're a guy, you're a man, or let's just say you're a boy, you're just turned 12, You woke up, you wanted to play, and your mom lets you play. But when you're a woman and you woke up and you play computer, they will scold you, especially here in Asia. I mean, it's 2022, but let's face it, it is our culture until now. So I think men and women have the same opportunities, but they do not have the same privileges. So that's my sentiment when it comes to. That's why I really love that you quoted the term equity.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I also did my research because before, like, everyone was like talking about gender equality, right? But at the very core, like, women and men are actually two different things, right? I mean, like, women cannot, like, act like man because like it's a different thing. But when we are talking about equity, it's about the opportunity, right? It's the opportunity based on what we need. So that's why when we are talking about esports in general, like you said, that esports actually has a gender and it's male, right?
Yes.
I think Jab never experienced that, right? Because like your parents will let you play whole day, right? And they won't say that, oh, well, why are you playing games? Because that's like your games, like, they will let you play whole day, right?
Yeah.
But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. But the really good thing that's happening right now with culture is that at least for my generation, at least I think it's starting to change. Yeah, it's starting to evolve. Yeah, that's right, John. It's starting to evolve because most of the, let's say, culture is based on opportunities also. So let's say with esports right now, there's a lot of opportunities to actually provide for your family. So most of the culture is ingrained with how you will provide to your family and all that stuff, right? But when even with boys, there was specifically times when they would see people playing video games thinking that you're wasting your time. It's just sad that it's usually the thought of that is double when you're female, right? Boys, when you see boys playing, it's you're wasting your time. But when you see a girl, it's wasting your time times 2. It's multiplied by 2.
Exactly.
It's very different. So it's sad that way. But I think it's starting to change. Why? Because there are a lot of opportunities to actually make a career out of esports. Not like the olden days when you play video games, that's all you do. You just play video games. Now, if you play video games, there's careers that are made out of video games. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. But if you can provide your family through esports, I think the mindset will start to change.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's why when we're talking about the equity, I think the ladies scene that we have right now is a very good example because, to be honest, when I first joined the esports industry and I heard the terms of lady scene, I used to be a very competitive player, and then when I heard that about the lady scene, I was like, why do we need to be separated playing from the boys, right? I was like my pride was torn. I was like, why? Yeah, but then I jumped into the industry and then got to know the community, and then I totally understand that not every girls are like me. I mean, like, my parents doesn't like me playing, but I was quite a rebellious kid back then, so I was like,
play.
yeah. So at some point, they're just like, giving up. Like, they just let me go to the cyber cafe because, yeah, they have no option because I keep going there. Like playing in the cyber cafe on, like playing Counter-Strike, playing Ragnarok online, playing lots of games in the cyber cafe. But then I see that. During this time, most of the female gamers are actually a first-time gamers when it comes to the gaming. So they're mobile gamers, right? So they never really had the experience of playing in a PC setup, right? So what do you guys think about the lady scene, and why do you think it is very important to have, especially to help the gender equity in esports? Maybe Jap can give your own perspective or angles for this.
Ah, to be honest, I have a really different perspective when it comes to the ladies scene. I agree that, to be honest, I don't see any advantage of actually having a ladies competitive scene on its own. I really don't see any long-term advantage when you segregate the males to the females when it comes to the competitive scene. But I do like the idea of having, a female scene. It's always good to have, let's say, a place to hang out with your, with females. If you're a female, if you want to hang out with females, it's nice to have that. But when it comes to the competitive scene, I'm not sure I agree with segregating the male from the females. It's not really helping the really competitive females in improving their games. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you're like Deb, you're very competitive. You really want to win. That's your main priority when playing games, right? If you are segregated to only or limited to only playing with other females, your options with finding a really good teammate are very low. It's not that because a lot of females are not really good at playing. It's not that. It's because a lot of them have no chance to actually develop their skills. Like in normal sports, you're only as good as the people you play with. You will never get better if you don't play with really good people. So because of the, let's say, the population or the number of females compared to men in the video game industry that are playing competitively, the ratio is really low. I think the current one is 1:5. So basically, how can you find a really good teammate if you're only limited to only choosing from the female side, right? So how can you improve? So that's why I don't really see the really long-term advantage of actually segregating the games. I would really like it. Actually, my thought is that I would really like to force the teams to get at least one female, or at least not segregate the league itself, or at least just create a league that would force teams to get one really good female to join their really good team. At least that one female that would really want to be really competitive and really good has a chance to develop her skills in the major leagues. Not be limited with, the teammates that are not really serious in competitive gaming and all that stuff. But I really think there's a really long-term advantage when you get to play with the major leagues or the really good players other than yourself. That's the way I think about it. Yeah. Deb, I think you're still on mute. How about you, Jang?
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't allow me to unmute myself. Hello, guys. Please unmute me. Okay. So I totally agree with you in terms of having fun together with the girls, right? Because that's actually what I always tell the girls. Like, I always trying to put this mindset inside their brain. Like, I tell them treat lady scene as your playground, not your real battleground. Because once you treat that as your real battleground, you're not going to move forward. You're gonna move backwards, right? So it's supposed to be your stepping stone before you're brave enough to jump into the real battleground, which is the major tournament. So, but let's hear from Jang. What is your perspective about this?
Well, actually, I have to agree with Job. But before, way back when I was still competing during my younger days, well, that was way back 2010. It was not even called esports yet. And then we were the first female to compete, like an all-female team that competed in an open tournament. I mean, it's not exclusive for male, but we were the only team that actually competed there. And then we didn't win, but we were able to finish up to top 4. I mean, that was for the entire Philippines. It's like a qualifier game, and we were able to get up to top 4. And actually, we also made that again way back 2019, I think, before pandemic. I think that was 2016 or 17. It was a crossfire game. It's a local game here in the Philippines. And then, I mean, I'm 50-50 about this because I'm happy that women are actually being noticed right now. And same opportunities are given to them, just like in VCT right now in Valorant. There's the VCT for male, and then there's the VCT for men. And the sad thing about this is, I've been competing since the early competition days of esports, and I rarely see female teams that compete in an open division right now. If I'm still young and I have all the time to do that, I would tell my team to, actually until now, I'm still telling my team, Fuma, to compete in open tournaments. Don't make it too exclusive for women. I know you can do it in female, but why not, try it with the male. Compete with males. I mean, that can help you with your experience and you can grow from that. I think there's a team in LOL way back 2018. Maybe if females were active in that scene, and I forgot the team name, but they were the first team to compete in a professional Riot hosted tournament, and then as expected, they lost. They lost big time. They even got the Guinness Book of World Record in winning. That. Yeah, if you remember that. Maybe that one triggered the female in esports not to join because they were ridiculed in a way. But some supporters, they actually cheered for them and they told them it's an experience and they should push through it. And now the team's still competing, but not in an open anymore. It's in a female. I mean, they can practice all they like. They have the opportunities. Maybe some of them have the privileges. But I do believe there's no, you don't need a physical strength to play in esports because, as Job said, it's all in your hands and your tactics and etc. But according to statistics, there's no scientific study about this, but statistically there is that men actually, there's more men winning in esports rather than female. And the thought that came up to me was why. And then I go back to that privilege thing, we're in culture, because of culture. Let's just face it, it's still evolving. Maybe some years from now in the future, but right now I still go back to women are not equally as great as men because they tend to lock themselves in a certain division, and also maybe because they don't have that. I can't pinpoint the proper word, but if you're getting me, that's it.
I just like to add a couple of things about that. Mm-hmm. In terms of that, that's why I don't like women being forced to team up with other women. Because if you look at, let's say, just the male type of teams right now, the guys are being forced to play with other men. But that does not necessarily mean that any teammate that you get will actually play really as good as you. You see, but the difference is that men, or at least the men division, have a lot more options because there's, again, the ratio right now is around 5 male to 1 female. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a guy that wants to look for somebody that plays as good as me, I have a lot more options. I can find more male teammates probably that can play as good as me or be as competitive as me. But if you're a girl, let's say you're only limited to a handful of people that you can team up with. The chances are some of those teammates are not as serious or not as good as you. So the options there are very, very limited for you to grow as a female. So one of the things that were mentioned, I remember reading that article that was the fastest loss in League of Legends tournaments. Yes. That entire female team. one of the notable things there was that they joined the tournament, but they were not prepared. It was very different. It's not really because they were females. Of course, a lot of people that don't actually understand the situation
Yeah.
would usually mention it's because they're all females. The main point is not because they're females. It's because they came into a major tournament not really prepared. Not everybody in that team took it seriously. That's why they lost so bad. A lot of other people were saying that because they would focus more on the glamour rather than actually grinding and practicing properly with their strategies. It's not really about them being female, actually. It's just about them not being able to prepare. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other, even male teams that go through the same thing. It's just that the guys that are, let's say there's 5 of you. If, let's say, the mid laner is very serious, the mid laner can go to another team that can probably help him improve. You can always find somebody else to help you improve. But it's just that the males have more options in finding more teammates that are competitive compared to women. So I'm hoping maybe in the future, it's better to have, let's say, females that are potentially good team up with male teammates that can actually help them improve. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of, potential in that.
Okay, so it is very interesting when you say there is a potential of the female players who actually has the skills to. So okay, when we're talking about the major tournaments, so in Indonesia, there was a girl, actually 2 girls, different esports team that has joined the MPL, but the esports team never let them play, not even one time. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I just want to share my thoughts with regards
Yeah,
to
sure.
that. Well, mostly, I'm not saying all, but most teams and organizers and sponsors right now would like a woman in their team. Why? Because of branding. I mean, women in general, like it's so rare for a male team to have a female. So it's like catching attention. They're just adding a women player to their team just to get attention. Well, I'm not saying all, but maybe most of them. It's just that.
I agree. Looking for at least getting a female that's usually attractive to join your team, that can play decent,
Yes.
is a really good, marketing strategy for your team. But I guess, in let's say if you do that in the MPL, I would say it's a loss opportunity with maximizing your resources. It's one position that you're one player that you're not maximizing. I really do hope that female player gets to, practice with the teams, because I know some of even the male subs don't get to practice with their entire team.
Exactly.
It's just the main team that gets to play. But I think the main point here is that, it's kind of hard to find somebody that's really committed to actually improve. Even if you get the best female of a team, I mean, the skill cap might be really, really different. Maybe it's different with you guys. I mean, I would love to have you guys on my team because I know you're pretty dedicated with your craft and you really want to compete. But
You
right
know
now,
what, Jap? I wish I were younger. I will be a pro player
Same.
Yeah, because
and grind 12 hours a day.
yeah, because it's really, really hard right now. One of the things that I'm pretty sure you guys know about is that people are joking about, let's say, Mobile Legends as a dating app, Valorant even being a dating app, because females enter that gaming scene not really to be competitive. They just want to have fun, which is okay, which is fine. But I think overall, it doesn't help the other females that would want to take it seriously.
Exactly.
It's
I agree
really,
with
really
that.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, totally
with that.
agree. So
Thank you.
how do we solve that? in your opinion? Like, what is the solution for that? Jab.
But for me, it's going to be really, really hard. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not to beat around the bush and say it's going to be easy. This is the one silver bullet as a solution. No, it's not going to be that. Much like all the other sports, when you want to break through it, I'm sorry to say, but this is double effort for the females right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you really want to break out, you have to break the ceiling first. You know, there's a glass ceiling saying that girls are not as good as the boys. Me personally, I do not believe that, because that's impossible. Because this is more about commitment, more about breaking through the culture. It's going to be double effort. If you really, if a female out there is listening to us right now, if you think you have the skills to actually improve, double your effort. Make sure that you play with the guys. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're a female or not. Make sure you play with the guys. Find guys that respect you in and out of the game. Because you have to find, even with the boys, it's the same thing. If you really want to compete at the highest levels, you have to find a teammate that would help you. And it's a long road, because I know some of our players, the really successful ones, started being competitive on their own, trying to go up the ranks. After that, they would try to build their team slowly. Let's say if I'm a mid laner, I would find a tank that would help me, and then eventually we would find somebody else. It's double effort. You have to do all of that with double effort. You have to force yourself to be one of the guys and be really as good as you can be while trying to improve. Don't limit yourself with just the first thing, I think, with the females at least, it's I'm a girl, I have to find another girl to play with. If you're really competitive, find somebody that's competitive. Don't find somebody with the same gender. I guess that's my best tip. If we really want to solve this, I think the pressure is on the girls, because the pressure to improve is on the players themselves.
Okay, Jang, what do you think?
Well, if women wants to fight gender inequality, they themselves should step up. Like, don't limit themselves in just joining an exclusive female tournament. I mean, they have something to prove, and that's sad. Like, why do you need to prove yourself that you're good in competing with men when we know for a fact that some females play better than boys? But it's just the way it is. Just like Jab said, we need to make a double effort just to prove ourselves and to them that we are as good as them. So again, if they want to fight gender inequality, they have to step up, join the male scene, and do not limit themselves. Usually we play. If ever some of my girls are not available, we go and get male players to sub for them. Like, it's a mixed team, and whenever the male team needs a sub, we sub for them. Just like I did before with one of the pro teams here in the Philippines, Alpha Esports. I sub for them. I mean, do not limit themselves. They have better opportunities. They have better exposures if they do not limit themselves in just joining women's division or women's tournament. But again, the competition in the female and the male team is totally different, and the sad thing is they really need the women's tournament or division for them to get experiences, and that's not bad at all. But at least once you get to the top, explore more, go experience more, and you'll be better next time. Maybe you can compete even in the pro scene together with other genders as well.
So I remember now where women are very successful in sports. There's a very different theme when it comes to team games versus single player games. So we had the very successful, I used to have in my team the very successful Hearthstone player, Gia D. She would usually place on top, and she would be expected to place on top always, even in the male-dominated leagues. So the main difference is, so that's a really good example of women can actually play video games sometimes even better than men because she's expected to win every time she's there.
Yes.
But it's a single player game. She does not need to rely on somebody else.
Yes.
You know, it's very different when it's a team game because you're supposed to rely, if you're a carrier, you're supposed to rely on your tank. It's very, very different, and the choices are very limited for you to ask for support. But on the single player games, even with Hearthstone, Axie, a lot of the champions in Axie right now, because it's a more of a single player strategic game, some of the champions are actually female. So so it tells you a different story. On the single player games, when women do not need the help of an entire roster of teammates, they're very, very successful. But during team games, they have to find really good teammates first that would help them succeed. So that's our point. You have to team up with somebody that can help you win.
Okay, so it's no longer about the gender, but just find someone who's really good, so you can make them right. It's not about like female or male, or you just find someone that is really, really good. So talking about the opportunities, that do you guys think that the esports industry should give trust and more opportunity for female? Because if we are looking at the scene itself, like esports industry is male dominant industry, right? So if you see the coach, the analyst, they're all mostly like male, right? So I think there's only one female coach, and she's from Indonesia, who's actually stepping in and join the Mobile Legends scene. But I think that's, as far as I see, there's only one, and mostly most of the other teams are male. And then I actually spoken to one of the girl in Indonesia, in one of the big team in Indonesia, and she said that she feels that she doesn't get the opportunity to explore her capability and the capacity to become the coach, because actually, like, sometimes she also helped coaching the team, but she never really get the opportunity to come up and really got the job. What do you think about that? Like, about the opportunity of women itself in esports industry? Maybe Jap, you can give me your angles.
Well, I'm proud to say that not really in coaching. Some of the coaches in the MPL, our team is very part of that. So I would say I'm proud to say that most of the managers there will have come from our team, have branched out to other MPL teams now. So, but these females are actually managers, more managers than actual coaches. We used to have, let's say, the country manager of Echo right now used to be a coach, but then she moved on to be the country manager. So a lot of opportunities there. That it really doesn't. I'm not really sure about limitations, because at least for us in Bren Esports, the way we do it is that we base it. We don't really look at gender that much. It's more of your competencies. So let's say in terms of, let's say, the coach that you mentioned that feels that she did not have any opportunity to showcase her skills. I think that's sad. But at the same time, I think even with the males, you have to find opportunities to present your skills in a different way. Because this is a very competitive environment. Everybody wants to get into esports. Everybody has to show their skills. All that stuff. But I think it comes down to your ability to make adjustments just so you can show your skills and be, improve yourself and ensure that you can do whatever the other guys want. It's not really gender specific. For me, it's more of how are you going to be creative in showing that you have the skills to actually win. Because coaching is more of a winning skill rather than just managing. But most of the girls are actually here, for us at least. I would say the MPL in the Philippines, most of the teams are managed by girls or women. So it's different. It's different based on your skill set, I would say. It's not really about your gender, at least for me.
Okay, what do you think, Jang? What do you think about the opportunity of female in the esports industry?
Well, for me, actually, uh, people expect less when it comes to women in esports when actually they can do more. Like they can play, they can manage, they can coach, but the opportunity is being given to them. It's just that they are not, like, they have to prove themselves just for them to exercise that specific job for them, given to them. Like, it's like some well, this was from my personal experience, but not with me, but someone I know. Like, no, she can't be a coach. She's a girl, and she's gonna manage a male team. Like, they're not gonna obey her, etc. But then she was given the opportunity, and she really managed the team well, and she was able to give more exposure to the team because she has a lot of connections. So I think it really depends, just like Chop said. It doesn't have anything to do with gender, but we have to face it that most people expect less from women, especially here in esports. When it comes to competitive scene, I mean. But in esports, well, we all know esports is in general. We have there the marketing, we have etc. etc. So it's just, I'm saying this on the competitive side only.
Okay. So, okay, I also got input from one of the female gamer in Indonesia. So she said that the reason why women doesn't really get the opportunity in the esports industry is because most of the CEO or COO in the esports team is male. So they choose male mostly. But yeah, I think that's what she feels about that because well, let's be frank, not all men are as open-minded as you, Jap. You're one of a kind.
Well, I think, to Jang's point, she mentioned that there's low expectations.
Yes.
In my mind, I think that should be treated as an advantage. Because when people expect less of you, and then you show them a lot, that would be a really big advantage for you, right? Let's say, for example, if somebody doesn't expect you to play really good, but then you end up, doing really good, that's really going to surprise whoever you're trying to, impress. I think it also depends on your mindset. If you feel that, most of the people in esports are actually very competitive. That's why you're here, because this is a competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you treat that opportunity much like how you treat playing a video game or your competitive video games, I think you would be surprised on how people would actually react to you. Because most of the females we've developed here, at least in my company that have moved on to other companies, they understand that this is a very competitive scene. Not thinking about gender, a lot of people want to work in esports. A lot. So that means it doesn't really matter your gender, but you are competing with a lot of people for very small amounts of jobs. There can only be a couple of managers, there can only be a couple of coaches. Of course, the competition would be very, very high. And I think you should use every opportunity to show your skills in that regard,
Okay, all right. So what do you think, Jang, does having a male CEO for the esports team is actually affected how the cost system treating women?
Maybe yes, and
esports?
maybe yes, maybe no. Because just like what you said about job, it really depends. It's not about the gender, but who will give you that opportunity. Just like me. Actually, my boss before, which is a male, gave me that opportunity way back, and until now I'm still gaining because he gave me that opportunity, because he trusted in me. Like he really thinks that I'm really good, and he gave me a chance, and I was able to prove it. And then on my next job, I was referred. They gave me a good background with regards to esports and marketing. And then right now I'm working out 3 jobs, which I don't consider a job because I really enjoy it, and it's all about esports. Well, in Fantech, Sir Fandy, the CEO, I'm really a good friend of him. And then Miss Eunice of Fantech Philippines. And then we right now I'm working at ECPC as brand marketing officer. And right now we're cooking something for the female scene this coming December. It's just to give like a way for female to join, because we had 3 tournaments, an open tournament, but none of them ever a female joined. So I wanted to give the same opportunities for the women. That's why I decided to make an exclusive women tournament. And guess what? There's too many women who wanted to play. So I was wondering, why didn't you join on the previous tournament? They were like, we're just gonna get crushed there. And I was like, how can you say that? You didn't even join. So for my next project, I was thinking, since Job gave me that idea of why not like an open tournament, but you have to at least get 3 girls and 2 guys, or 2 transgender whatsoever, like a mixed gender kind of tournament. I think that will open a lot of opportunities for both genders as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So is it safe for me to take a conclusion that since the male was actually being in the system first, because, well, as we all know that games used to have a genders and still have like it's male, right? Like games, since the male was in the system first, so is it safe for me to say that it's gonna be nice, it's gonna be even better if the male actually deserve it? Is it
Sorry, you
safe
cut
for
off
me
there.
to say that?
Yeah, you got cut off.
Yeah, I mean, like, I say that, is it safe for me to say that if the male, the guy was supposed to give the opportunity to the girls who's actually deserved it?
Yeah. That's always going to
Because-
be the case.
Yeah, because you guys are actually like already in the system first, right? So it means that you are giving out the opportunity to help your female counterparts to get more opportunity in the industry.
Yeah. To be honest, we don't see gender. It's just that people that have the skill sets that we need and that are willing to, commit their skill sets get most of the opportunity. It doesn't matter what your gender. If you're committed to something and we see that you are, we will give you that opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. That's how things supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about ladies or female gamers, there's actually a very, very interesting topic that we can discuss is about the harassment in game, because female are the one who got the most harassment, right? Especially when it comes to verbal harassment or even sexual harassment in game.
Yeah.
So what do you think from your own perspective or angle, like how does it affect the presence of women in esports industry?
Can I
Jab.
go first?
Or yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Jab.
go, John. Go ahead.
Well, I have been playing ever since, and when I play online games, mostly women do not talk. Why? Because they get catcalled, or they say, "Oh my God, we're gonna lose. There's a woman here." Or on the positive side, well, I can't really say it's a positive side, but when they hear a woman talk, they say, "What? Your Facebook? Do you stream? Do you show your boobs? Can you send me nudes?" Something like that. And then that's the reason why most female doesn't talk, especially when they are playing online games with strangers, or like just queuing with other people. They get harassed a lot, except if you are like carrying the team, then that's the only time that women can actually talk. I mean, it's sad, but that's the reality. Unless you're super confident that you can carry the team that you don't really know, then they will speak as early as the earliest game, at the earliest round. But as much as possible, women doesn't talk during in game, especially if they don't know who are they playing with. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's really come from your heart. I can feel that. You're very.
Actually, in addition to this, I actually made a viral post before. Like, I only captioned there that these are the so-called female gamers nowadays, and then I kind of, well, I don't think that's bad because they showed it publicly and they were streaming publicly, showing half naked body, like their boobs overflowing on the camera, and I just kind of screenshot it and then made it into an album, and then I captioned it, the so-called female gamers nowadays, and then when I woke up, it got viral and I got interviewed in one of local TV shows here in the Philippines. And it really upsets me because we worked so hard for men to look at female gamers in a different perspective, and yet here comes the female so-called gamers that only shows boobs and doesn't really have the skills. They're just entertaining. So I was wishing, I hope Facebook really has that special streaming platform wherein it's not esports related, like entertainment wise, like they can play but in an entertaining way, not like the there are two kinds of streamers in esports, the one who's just entertaining and the one who really has the skills. And I hope that Facebook soon has that separation of streamers so that women will not get generalized. Like when they hear you speak and you're a girl, they're like, show me your boobs, show me your nudes, etc. Because most streamers and influencers who are very showy, and it's up to them actually. I really don't have problem with that because it's their freedom, it's their body, they can show it if they want. But let's just take note that many women worked so hard just to get that reputation they were looking for and worked hard for, and then here they come. It's not that they're ruining our reputation or those really skilled players, women players, but rather we are being generalized, which is kind of sad. It's really sad actually. I mean, I have been playing almost half of my life, and then here comes the streamers, etc., who only streams to show their body and not really into esports. So
Okay, what do you think of the streamer who showed that body but also really good at playing?
actually there are a lot of females like that as well, and I, just like I said, I don't have problems with that as long as they can prove to their viewers and with other people that they can actually play and they are better than them, or at least they are skilled to play that certain game, so that not all women will get generalized that women only shows boobs or their bodies and then really is a noob.
Oh, okay. I got it. Okay, so Jab, what do you think about this? I want to hear a guy's perspective on this.
Since we're talking about boobs and nudes, I have to be really careful with my words. So, actually, when we were starting with our esports team, this started to be very, very, I would say, prevalent. Very popular in streaming. We approached it in a way that the thing that I advised my friends and our other streamers and our players is that you have to understand your target market, your audience. The people who want to watch those kinds of things, to be entertained by those things, are not the same target audience that you want watching your stream. So the thing I would usually explain is that people would want to be, the video gaming, streaming has become a platform for entertainment. Be it you wanting to watch somebody that wants to play really good, or be it you wanting to be entertained by somebody that wants to show a lot of things. Be it whatever it is, body, funny clips, or all of that stuff, or entertainment. It's more about you thinking about the audience that you want to tap. You also have to understand that the internet is full of kids, full of very hormonal teenagers that are trying to find their place in the world, trying to understand their bodies as well. So I think, in terms of, let's say, a lot of people watching that, I would say that let them watch it if that's what they want to do. We cannot do anything about it because this is the internet. But you yourself, let's say as a pro gamer, you have to focus on the target market that you want to reach. You want the decent people watching your streams because you are a good player. If eventually you come across somebody that's asking for something very offensive as a female streamer, I would say just block them. You don't need them on your stream. You don't need to be popular that way. You don't need that kind of audience because they are not your target audience. It really depends on what you want to do on your own stream, on your own channel, on your own work. So I don't really mind because I see a lot of people getting, tagged as a gamer, but that they are not actually gamers. They are entertainers, by their own right. But they're using video games as a platform to entertain. But me as, I'm already an adult, I'm not a hormonal teenager. I understand that these are people trying to entertain a target audience, which is basically not me. They're trying to entertain a really big audience of hormonal teenagers that wants to see and understand, who they are in the world. But then again, me or my competitive team that wants to stream and entertain a different kind of audience, they understand that it may be a small audience, but at least it's the audience that they want watching their streams. It's very different, or it's very difficult to juggle that. Because why? Because generally you want to stream and have a lot of people watching. The main problem is a lot of these kids are entertained a different way because they're still trying to understand the world and trying to understand how they feel about their own bodies. So they get to watch all that other exciting stuff, But then again, you as a streamer, you just have to focus on your own audience. It doesn't matter if a lot of these kids watch you, but they don't understand what you're doing. So they're not really your target market, right? So it depends on what market you want to reach. So I guess just focus on that. Everything else will probably follow,
Okay, so but what do you think about how those kind of verbal harassment or sexual harassment in gaming or in esports was actually like affecting the women who's actually want to join the esports scene?
Yeah. Well, it's mostly a cultural thing. I would usually say that it's based on my experience. Even the guys get harassed by other guys, especially in ranked games, because sometimes even me, when I want to take care of my rank because I'm climbing the ladder, right? If I eventually get a teammate that does not do anything to help my team to win, I would probably get irritated too. It doesn't matter the gender,
You're raging.
Because you're trying to take care of your rank. Everybody else is doing their thing so that your team can win. And then eventually, you find a teammate that does not do anything to help you win. Of course, you're going to be irritated at least, right? So for me, it doesn't really matter of the gender. But I do understand that a lot of kids, especially at the lower ranks, are really excited when they hear a female play. That's where all of the, I think, harassment comes in, because some of them are treating the video game as more of an entertainment platform rather than something that they want to climb the rankings with, So all of you guys are gamers. You know that the lower ranks are not really good for us. It's very hard to get out of the lower ranks because who's there? These are the kids. These are people who just want to play for fun. These are people that started playing, who do not understand how the games work. So, when they see a female, probably the guys that are, surprised or not used to, some of these kids have probably no interaction with real life females in their life. So they probably get excited and all that. But I think, number one, actual sexual harassments and catcalling should stop. The publishers should find a way to actually stop it. If they find a way to, censor hate, they should find a way to censor harassment also. That's very easy in my opinion for them to do. So it doesn't matter if you're a kid or anything like that. It's not an excuse to harass somebody else, right? So the publishers should have at least a way to prevent that from continually happening. And I think a lot of the publishers right now and the developers are creating creative ways to address that situation. Especially, I think it's also in the best interest of the developers and the publishers to have a lot of female gamers, because it helps their games also, right? So I think they're doing what they can as of the moment, but to be honest, I think they should be doing more. Harassment in any form should not be allowed. But to the other stuff, the kids that are just excited to be a teammate with a female, that especially when she's really, really good, I think that can be. I want to say that it's something that I think right now the female should expect, but also be able to manage. If you hear somebody catcalling you, just go ahead and block the game. Most of the games right now have a way to block, right? Just go ahead and block. You don't have to spend time with them. There's a million other people to play with. I think it's also asking a lot. Being a guy, I can imagine, I can remember that I've already blocked probably 1,000 guys from playing with me because, one, I do not like when they communicate with me. I do not like how they play. I block them. I don't have to spend my time thinking about who they are, why they said those things to me. The same with the girls. I hope you understand that going into these games, you're exposing yourself to the public. Therefore, you have to think of ways to actually segregate yourself from the people you don't want to be with. So blocking is a really good way to do that. If you feel somebody is harassing you, block them right away and report them. There's always a way to actually report players right now, right? Especially the ones that are harassing you. So there's always a lot of that. But I think everybody has to have an open mind of going into these games, not thinking that they are free to do anything they want to do. But you as a player, I think you also have the responsibility to make sure you know how to defend yourself, right? From those kinds of things. Because you're opening yourself up to the public, Even in the real world, you have to do that, right? Even as a male, even as a female, you have to do that. You have to protect yourself. So in video games, I feel that you have to have the same expectations, at least.
Okay, so I think the role of game publisher also very important in order for the community to be more healthy, right? And
Yes.
I also think that the role of the influencers and KOL and also pro players is also important to educate the community to not doing those kind of things. I mean, like regardless of the gender, like you said that even the male can actually got harassed, not only female,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so next question, like the topic today is about women empowerment. So I really want to know your perspective regarding the women empowerment in esports and how esports can actually empower women. Jang, you wanna give your own perspective first?
Okay. Well, actually, we hear women empowerment a lot lately, especially now, especially in esports. We all hear women empowerment, but how do we actually do women empowerment? First, for me, in my own experience, I help women here in esports by, developing them, like in my team. I usually get players who are unknown, and then I help them compete, and I help them build teams, and then I help them get experiences, etc. And I'm really proud that some of them actually went into pro scene right now, and some of my girls were actually part of Bren Esports as well, and then some of my girls before was in other big companies in esports here in the Philippines as well. And that, I think, is one great example of women empowerment. I mean, giving opportunities, helping them get the experiences they need, so that in the future they'll be able to make it. I mean, they already have experience, exposure, etc. They're more confident. I mean, building confidence and experience is one thing that I wanted to share with my girls, and that's one part of it that I can say I help empower women in esports.
Deb is just waiting for that. Yeah, Deb.
I know. I need to wait for the team to unmute me because it's not allowed me to unmute myself. Okay, so yeah, totally agree with that. I honestly thinking that actually for me, esports, the reason why I believe that esports can actually empower women, because by being competitive, it's also increase your self-confidence. That's for me. And by having a better self-confidence, then we as a women, of course, will feel more better about ourselves, right? So in your perspective, Jap, like from a guy's perspective, what do you think about that?
I think empowerment is very tricky for us because, at least for us, like Jang said, our role as, let's say us as an esports company, our role to empower women in esports or any kind of industry is to provide opportunities. But the end goal of being empowered is up to the person that actually has that opportunity or gets that opportunity. So our role is just to provide the opportunities. But for them to be empowered, it's up to that person to actually be empowered. They have to maximize that opportunity. They have to make sure that they do really good so that they can showcase their skills so that they can be empowered in the end. The sad thing is, majority of the time, I'm pretty sure Jang would agree, is that we would give a lot of opportunities, even to females, even to males, but not a lot of them would maximize that. So I think that is where things fall short. We want to empower as many females as we can. The problem is not a lot of them take that seriously. A lot of them would take that opportunity and do nothing with it. So empowerment, at least for us as owners of teams, as managers of teams, the best thing that we can do is provide opportunities for these women to be able to empower themselves.
Yes.
But if they do not do anything with that opportunity, I think that's the sad thing. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of females out there that want to maximize that opportunity, and that's going to be the best thing that can happen. And that's also the challenge for us also.
Okay, so well, hearing that it was actually like quite sad, right? Because when they're given the opportunity, but they're taking it for granted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I have one more question. It's about the future. So what do you guys think about the future of women in the esports industry? Because we actually know that based on the data, the female gamers are almost on par with the guys, right? But when we are talking about esports presents, the percentage is very, very low. I don't think it's even 10%. I think it's even lower than that. when we're talking about the esports presence, like female pro player being in a major tournament, I
Yeah.
think the percentage is super small, like even less than 5%,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But when we are talking about the gaming itself, gaming including the castle game as well, because I found out that there are lots of women actually are not familiar with the terms of esports. They love playing the esports game, like let's say Dota, Mobile Legends, PUBG M. They love playing it a lot, but then they don't really understand the terms of esports. They don't understand the competition side. They don't understand the esports team. And I can totally relate with this, and I can vouch for this because I was there 2.5 years ago. So I love playing esports game, but I didn't even know that esports is now an industry, right? So it's like totally different right now than before. So my question is, what do you guys think about the future for women in esports industry? Knowing that actually the number of female gamers is actually almost on par with the guys, and what can be done in order to make, to change the stigma that is currently, exists right now. Jap, maybe you can give your...
Okay. I'm really optimistic because people, when you see the numbers of gamers from male to female starting to be equal, it's a really good indication that a lot more females are enjoying the games. In my perspective, when people enjoy the games, they would start being more competitive in it. So that means, at least in the near future, if a lot more females enjoy the games, they would probably start competing. They would probably start to want to always win. And that's a really good indication for the sport, for at least for esports. And I really expect a lot more females given a lot more opportunities, in the right way. I'm very excited with whatever Jang is trying to put up with the mixed gender leagues, because I feel that's the best way to actually foster females to actually join the competitive scene. That's for me, that's the right way to actually do it. Not forcing them to be teammates with just the females. Force males, really good ones, to team up with the females. So I think in that case, if that continues, I think there will be a lot more females. Stigma will start to be erased, because I'm thinking a lot more females will be really good at the games, better than a lot of other men. So respect would be there eventually. So I'm really optimistic, and I'm really excited to see that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Jack.
Well, for me,
Sure. The future is actually great, right?
yes. I mean, since I have been playing ever since, I've seen how esports evolved from not being called esports before until now that is booming like this right now. And then actually I'm pretty optimistic when it comes to women in esports. Why? Because I saw how it actually evolved from 2000, I think year 2000, when Counter-Strike started. I mean, there were a lot of computer shops in Philippines during those days, but not a lot. But I mean, it really improved. And as you said earlier, that many women enjoyed gaming but not actually understanding esports. And one of my well, I can't say it's a dream, but it's a dream in process. We are actually starting community tournaments for amateurs. Like before in one FPS game called Point Blank, I was asked. It was a favor actually they asked me to find female gamers who doesn't have any like any background in gaming at all, like a newbie, a noob. And I was able to find women, and actually some of them I forced them to join. And until now they're competing, and I'm really happy that those little things that I asked them, like it was a good spark for their future. Like right now they are still competing and they're actually winning, and some of them are actually in a pro team. Some of them are playing in a pro team, and some of them are just managing pro teams as well. So I mean, everything starts from a little push. And I think community tournaments can help that. Like to slowly educate women in esports. Like, would you like to compete? If you're a complete newbie, it's okay. Like, we can mix you. If you don't have a team, we can meet you up with other teams. And then that's the most comfortable scene for new players to play with other women as well in an amateur scene. So I think if more organizers can provide that opportunity for the new players, especially for women, they will be well educated in the future. And maybe just like Job said, more women will compete in the competitive scene in the near future.
I think Deb is just.
I think she's.
Oh, she got disconnected. Hey,
Yes.
she's back.
Oh, hi,
She's
you're
back.
there. Welcome back.
She's back on mute. There.
Okay.
You're back.
I'm so sorry. My connections really sucks. Okay. So we're almost at the end of the session anyway. So yeah, I think I can take some conclusion about our discussion tonight. So first, regarding the lady scene, I really hope that everyone who's actually watched this agreed with the three of us to make the lady scene is just a playground, right? Not the real battleground. And don't be happy with just achieve something in lady scene, but do something different, do something better, which is try to step out the comfort zone. Because I'm also one of the person that always say and disagree if the lady scene has the same prize pool as the major tournament. I always say no, because that's just gonna put the ladies into more comfort zone, right? They will feel like, oh, the prize pool is already the same, so why do I need to just quit the comfort zone, right? So I think we all agree on that. And also, in order for us to erase that kind of stigma, as a woman, as a girl, I think we really need to work hard on that. Twice as hard, thrice as hard, until we make it. Because in the end, it's not about the gender that's spoken, but it's about how you as a person, as a human being, can prove yourself and be able to show everyone that you can actually do it, right? So it's not about being a woman, but it's about being a competent human.
Yes.
I think that's the mindset that we all have to have, because I think that if we are just limiting ourselves by our gender, we're not going anywhere, right? We're just going to be in our little box, just, like telling ourselves that, oh, we are just women and we don't have the opportunity, we don't have the privilege, and we keep blaming the society. So yeah, right? Especially in Bren Esports, like Bren Esports give lots of opportunities, right? To everyone actually, right? Not only female, but those who's actually want to be better. And yeah, I think tonight's conversation is very, very exciting and very interesting. And we are already here for 1.5 hours. It's so fast. And I'm very happy that you guys are here and sharing the thoughts and also your vision, and also I really hope that everyone who's actually listening in YouTube can be inspired. I think I also need to do some translation to Indonesian language so they can understand what you guys are trying to say, because it's a really great point, and I'm really happy that you guys stated that. And I think on behalf of UniPin and UniPin community, I would love to say thank you so much for you, Jab, and also Jang,
Thank you.
to spare your time and to share your knowledge, and also to share your perspective about the women empowerment in esports industry and about the gender equity as well. So yeah, everyone, that's the end of the session. So let's take picture for the three of us together. Yeah. Okay. Can you guys take picture? Okay, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay. All right. It's done. Yeah, finally. So yeah, everyone. So that's the end of the session. And again, I would like to say thank you so much for our sponsors for awesome, inspiring well-being, Monitor Gaming, Samsung Odyssey, official streaming partner video, and all the media partners over here. And we also have Funtech. And don't forget to register yourself on unipin.seaca.com, because you can get lots of items there. You can redeem your points, and then you can play lots of games, and just pre-register yourself to collect those points. So I am Deborah Emanuela from UniPin. I'm the Senior Vice President of UniPin. Would like to say thank you so much for the time, and see you at another event. Goodbye.
New skin ready.
OSIM. Warga plus 62 emang banyak maunya. Dari drakoran sampai banjir air mata. Nonton action yang mantul. Sampai nonton tendangan cantik. Maksudnya ini Mau nonton apapun, semua ada di video. Mulai dari yang bikin berbunga-bunga, keringet dingin, ketawa, sampai bikin gak ngedip. Jadi nonton apa sekarang?
Tak pernah ku berhenti, tak pernah ku menyerah.
Untuk raih peluang, untuk ambil keputusan.
Bisnis Indonesia, navigasi bisnisku. Bisnis Indonesia.
Bisnis Indonesia, navigasi bisnis terpercaya.
Perkenalkan, ini aplikasi terbaru kompas.com. Kamu bisa baca berita lebih nyaman. Buka aplikasinya, scroll, swipe, klik, dan baca berita yang kamu mau. Yang paling penting, iklannya lebih tertata dan tidak mengganggu. Semua topik favorit kamu ada di sini. Berita hari ini semua ada di ujung jari. Download sekarang, baca berita lebih nyaman.